Hello, welcome to Benjamin Tree. Today we're going to be looking at two functions, the random functions. So sometimes when I'm making examples for us to use or when I'm just practicing by myself, I want to make random numbers, and instead of trying to think of the numbers by myself or find a random number generator online, Microsoft Excel comes with a random number generator automatically. So the base one is just RAND. If you look at the equation, there's no inputs whatsoever. So we just type in equal RAND and open and close parentheses. When we do this, it gives us a number between 0 and 1. And as you can see, it can actually go out to quite a few decimal places here. Okay, so, and if you use this number later on, maybe you want to multiply it by 1,000. Whoops. Multiply it by 1,000, you're going to again get this long number with lots of decimal places. So that might not be exactly what you want. So another option, instead of using this, is we want to use another function called RANDBETWEEN. So what happens is it has two inputs. It's bottom and top. It tells us what kind of, what's the minimum number, what's the top number, the maximum number that we would have that we should choose our random numbers. So what we can do here is we can type in RANDBETWEEN, and we're going to do grades here. So we can go between 0 and 100, and we get 86. And then we can drag and copy this formula to everybody, and you can get all these different numbers. One thing, if you notice, every time that I make a change to my Excel sheet here, the numbers randomly generate again and again. Okay, so we probably don't want this to happen. So we're going to look at a way to prevent that from happening later. But before we do that, we want to look at a couple more things here. So as you can notice that this is only giving me whole numbers between 0 and 100. And also maybe I don't want to go down to 0 for mine, for test grades. Maybe I want to say 40 is the minimum test grade, because 5%, 0%, 8% looks a little weird. So we go down again, so that looks a little bit more like natural test scores. Maybe you want to have some numbers with decimal points in them. Okay, so how can we get that? So what I'm going to do here, instead of having between 40 and 100, I'm going to have it choose numbers between 400 and 10,000, and then I'm going to divide the entire thing by 100. So now I'm getting these nice pretty numbers of these nice pretty grade numbers that look better, that have all these decimal places. And if you don't like the way that it looks here, you want everyone to have the same 2 decimal spots, we can just format the cell and go to number and show 2 decimal places. So that way everything comes out evenly. I've been at schools where they had us round our grades to the thousandth decimal place. So you can increase the numbers or decrease. Or if you want to do by variables of 100 or variables of 5, you can set your correct range, and then you can multiply it instead of divide. So last thing we're going to do here. So again, we don't want these numbers to constantly change. So what we can do is we can copy all of these numbers, copy them, but we're going to paste, and we're going to do something called paste special. Okay, so we come here to paste special, and we come down to paste values. Okay, all right, it's going to make one more change, but now when we highlight all of these, numbers, there's no RANDBETWEEN formula anymore. And if I make changes to the Excel sheet, it's not changing either. So that's what you can do. I just copy it and paste it over the actual formulas, and now I have solid numbers, or not a formula anymore. So now that you've learned how to use RAND and RANDBETWEEN, go ahead and practice. create some random heights for all these people between 146 and 198 centimeters using the RAND between. And when you finish, copy and paste the values over these formulas, so that way you don't have the formulas there constantly changing every time you edit the Excel sheet. But one thing to keep in mind that when you're creating these random heights, for those who've taken statistics, it's not going to create a bell curve. So you could have a lot more people who are short or tall than naturally occurs in society. So just keep that in mind when you're using a random number generator. When you finish, come down to the practice answer, and then you can check your answers. Thank you for using Benjamin Tree today, and we hope you learned a lot. Have a great one. Bye-bye.